Hi everyone, welcome to your tarot wisdom messages for the spring equinox 2026. And I really wanted to talk about the Emperor card in tarot. Um, Obviously, the spring equinox is the beginning of Aries season, and the Emperor represents the Aries season in tarot. Um, Normally, I don't talk about the card that is related to the zodiac sign that we're moving into, but something feels so powerful, so different, so many people, and myself included, can feel something, and we can't quite put our finger on it, which means we can't quite articulate it, we can't quite express it, but I think you might know what I mean. Um, so I thought to myself, well, I'll just do the cards like normal and we will see if the Emperor comes up. And I thought, oh, I can choose to talk about the Emperor. Anyway, I just literally took the deck out of my little case that I keep my cards in, and he was on the bottom of the deck already. So yeah, he is an authoritative figure. So I had to listen to him and do as he said. So let's talk a little bit about the Emperor. So we've got the spring equinox. Friday, Saturday, depending where you are. I always think of it as the 21st of March. And so it's Saturday here in Spain. Um, the the emperor, look, you see, you've got the rams here, which show the sign. Aries is very much about the ram. Sorry, I've got to have a little giggle because I just picked it off the bottom. And the cards are so clear these days. And the one underneath it was the death card. I literally just took this off the bottom and there was a death card. I won't take this one off, otherwise they'll probably all be relevant and we won't even need to shuffle or do a reading or anything. We've got the death card, which of course is why it's feeling so powerful. It's why it's feeling so transformational. The death card, of course, has the greatest capacity for transformation. Although obviously in a really good way, forces a positive movement forward. So yeah, that's the energy behind the emperor, and the emperor is already powerful, powerful energy. So the reason I think we need to talk about the emperor, his main message is to step into your power. But it's not just stepping into your power. Where does your power lie? Your power lies in your consciousness, and your power lies in your sovereignty. Now, the Emperor is very much a sovereign card, of course, because he's also a sign of authority. He can represent external authority and typically represents perhaps a father figure in your life that has had authority over you. It could be an employer. There's a masculine energy there. But really, this whole idea now of sovereignty is about embodying our inner authority and seeing that we don't need to be governed by anybody else. We don't need to be even guided by anybody else. We really, this is a time now to tap inside and to listen to our own guidance. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't listen to other people. You're watching a video and I'm saying stuff, right? Or reading books or watching podcasts and stuff. Obviously, it doesn't mean that, but it means we're not taking on board anything unless it resonates. So that resonance that you feel when you hear something and you go, oh, that's a message for me. That's resonance. So some people call it the goosebumps that you get. I call it the truth bumps. So when you get that feeling, and sometimes it can feel like a wave of energy coming through you. That's what I call a self-realization wave. And that's a message as well. What we're doing is we're tuning in to our own body's feelings to tell us if we're in a state of expansion, excitement, resonance. It means that that message that we've just heard is for us. So even though you're hearing the guidance or whatever it might be from outside of you, you're getting confirmation from inside. You're getting confirmation from your own inner authority. That's what I want to say with this card. It's about inner authority. So that's telling you it's for you. There's a lot of people saying, oh, this person, you shouldn't trust them or you should trust this. I mean, that's a lot of that going on. And we don't need to jump into judgment here about anything. You might hear something and it doesn't resonate with you, which just means it's not for you. It's not a message for you. But your friend might hear the same message and get the truth bumps. That doesn't mean that the person that was speaking or whatever was right or wrong or good or bad or trustworthy or not trustworthy. It simply means that the message was not for you if you didn't get the truth bumps, and the message was for your friend because you're on completely different paths. So there is no right and wrong and good and bad and judgment about this. We're just going within, feeling, and that's why closing the eyes and being in a state of stillness is so powerful because it really helps you feel the cells of your body. And what you're really listening for is that, or feeling for, I should say, is that feeling of expansion. Because when the cells expand, that means that whatever you've heard, the frequency of the words, the thought, the belief, the idea, okay, it's for you. It's resonating with you. And if your cells contract and they go into a state of contraction, it means that it's not for you. Now, if you want to practice this and really heighten your intuition so that you can feel your own inner authority, then anyone that follows me knows this. I'm really passionate about the sway test. I will put a link in the description to my video on the sway test, which is quite old now, and I was very serious when I did it because I didn't realize at the time that you could have fun making videos. But the point is, I stand by the content of that video, and it helps you tune into your body and feel that expansion, which will take you forward, or the contraction, which will take you backwards. In the video, I just use foods, but you can use it for thoughts, beliefs, affirmations, everything, anything. Expansion is a yes, contraction is a no. That's your inner authority. Now I realize why I'm so passionate about sharing this weight test because it's been life-changing for me. And I've seen it in people, friends that use it as well, not just the sway test, because once you've tuned in to that feeling of expansion and contraction, you don't really need to stand up and do the sway test as such. You can use this one. This is the one I still use a lot. The muscle testing. I'll put a video in the description to that one as well, because when the muscles are contracting, they're weaker. So the grip is much weaker. You can feel it in your fingers. And when the cells of your body are stronger, when they are in a state of expansion, we're stronger. And then it's more difficult to break. But it does take practice, and people always say to me, "Oh, I think my mind is playing with it." And yes, that can happen, which is why, it's good to practice it. But after practice, you don't even need to do this. You can just feel inside the cells of your body whether they're expanding or contracting. And that's how to heighten your intuition, because that's what intuition is, isn't it? When you feel a certain thing. And we can't always explain it. Sometimes we might expand for something that we didn't expect that we would. And sometimes we can contract for things that we didn't expect that we would. So it's important to understand. That's what he's saying to me. That's why we had to talk to the emperor today. Because he's saying, listen to your inner authority. And whether that's sway test, muscle testing, intuition, just a feeling, goosebumps, truth bumps, whatever you want to call it, resonance. But that's what we need to listen to, because that's going to be your guidance, with no judgment to anybody that's seeing something else. Somebody else might say, "Oh, this is really great. This is for me. This is really good." And you could be like, "Well, it's not for me, but that's fine. But go and fill your boots with it." We don't need to judge people and say, "No, that's wrong. That's not the guidance you should be taking," because you're not feeling their inner authority, are you? Um, and it does take practice, as we said. So he's very much a sovereign card, and it's so important for us to be sovereign. And it works on all levels, of course. So the sway test works, as I said in my video, I use it for food, just like, is this food good for me? So we don't need to actually take guidance from kinesiologists or allergy testers or nutritionists or whatever. We can just listen to our own inner authority. Doesn't mean we don't listen to them. We can read them and learn lots of stuff from people. I'm not dissing that. I'm just saying, before we take it completely on board, before we embody something completely, let's just run it past our own inner authority system. That's what I want to say. But also, of course, it goes far beyond what we eat and what we think. It goes into the collective. And I saw this firsthand at the end of 2024 when we had the devastating floods here in Valencia. I've used them as an example before, but they are a very good example. So it was awful. It was awful. People obviously being made homeless, and the fear, there was lives lost. I mean, there was panic, there was grief. I mean, it was awful. And then the streets just needed to be cleared. I mean, all the cars got piled up. I mean, just, hundreds and hundreds, thousands of cars just washed away. And where did they accumulate? I mean, you can imagine the amount of work involved after something like that. And of course, I'm just talking about Valencia, but these kind of things happen all over the world. But what struck me, or what came to my awareness, again, other people may have had different experiences. We've all got our own experiences, and we're seeing life through our own lens. But I saw that there was no support from the government. And not only that, but there was the French army wanted to come in to help, and they were stopped at the border. And so there was no official help. But what we did see was people. The roads were blocked, but people walking for miles with brooms and mops and buckets and Wellington boots and going to clean and help. And not only that, but in this area where I am, there was a friend of mine who's just very good at organizing, and she just got a load of men with vans, and then she got onto Facebook to ask for donations, and she was organizing these vans going up, these van drivers giving their time, everybody wanting to give something. So all this like bedding and everything and food and whatever they needed was being sent up there. Everybody was doing their bit. And of course, we had a lot of energy workers, light workers that were, myself included, because I did a video at the time and I was processing a lot of grief and sadness in that video. I didn't mean to, but it was all coming up at the time. And we were processing, just helping to process that grief. And then when you see the love being outpoured by the people, so many people just outpouring this love, the people power. It was just amazing. And it was another sign that the people had taken the authority that was necessary, um, not the government. And it was just, for me, I think it was a part of my reality just to remind me that it's the people that have authority, grassroots up. This is where we're going, or this is where we are in a lot of places. It was evident that it's the people and that have the authority. It's the people that have the power. It's the people. Oh, I feel emotional saying this now. It's the people that have the love. It's the people that have the love for humanity. It's the people that have the love for our own future, and how we want it to be rooted in love for ourselves, for each other, for humanity. And so connected to this inner authority. Can you see what I'm getting to with this? This inner authority, this sovereign. It's so powerful and so important. It doesn't mean that we're all going to be completely on our own and no one's going to be helping us because we can do everything. It's not an independence in that way. It's a sovereign, as in, I'm going to govern myself. But of course, we're going to come together and work together on whatever the solutions are, or whatever the creations are that we want to bring in to the world. So he's really powerful. I mean, like every spring equinox, obviously Aries comes in. I've got a love for Aries, a renewed love for Aries since finding out that I am Aries rising, because Aries is actually ruled by Mars. Now, Mars is the warrior planet. It's war, okay, and so its shadow side, because all energies have a shadow and a higher side, don't they? A siddhi, as Richard Rudd will call it in the Gene Keys. But there is a shadow, and there's different polarities to energies. And so the shadow side would be anger and aggression, and that fighting energy. But that's another thing that I think he's been teaching me. Thank you, Emperor. Is this anger, because a lot of us were brought up to believe that it was wrong to be angry. Sorry, just turning that down. Yeah, young children are often taught it's wrong to be angry, as opposed to, now the very conscious parents, if you've got a child having a tantrum or a little paddy or whatever, you could hold space for them and let them get it out of their system and just make sure they're safe and loved. And it's an emotion. It's a powerful emotion. And let's not make it wrong. That's what I want to say. Let's not make it wrong. It's been made wrong for so long. And anger is not wrong. What anger is, in fact, it's just telling you that you are not in agreement with what you're seeing. You're seeing something, you're observing something, you're hearing something, and you're not in agreement with it. And so the anger is telling you that you want something different. You want what you're looking at to change. Now, that's not a bad thing, okay? The problem only comes when you believe that to change whatever it is that you're looking at, you need to fight it. That's kind of where the problem comes. Standing up to it is one thing, but a Seven of Wands, good. Conviction and courage in in your beliefs, that inner authority again. But actually fighting it, physically fighting it, what you're doing is you're going to be putting your frequency, you're reacting, but because anger on the map of consciousness is in the bottom half, which means it's a state of contraction. So you will be adding that, you'll be creating from that frequency. So you'll be creating more angry situations in the world. That's how it works. But there's nothing wrong to feeling it. And it's one of the best ones. So anyone that's read this book, Lessons in Awakening, I'll put a link in the description to that as well. So I talk about it in there. I've talked about it many times before, but one of the many ways to process these emotions, of course, is to sit in stillness. We like a bit of stillness, don't we? Bit of solitude, silence, and stillness, the three S's. To sit in stillness with your eyes closed, your body relaxed, and to feel the emotion. Now, it's very difficult to do this with anger. This is why I think it's coming up, that's why he's talking about it. Because anger makes your blood boil, and it's difficult to sit still with that, isn't it? And also in the moment, it's much easier to react to whatever it is, the stimuli that is making you angry. So we have to catch ourselves. And there's a number of little techniques. One of them is this one where you just sit and feel it. Feel it, and it can be really intense. For me personally, it's been one of the most intense emotions, but that's probably because I'm Aries rising. And maybe that's why I've practiced it. I don't know. Don't get me wrong, I express anger quite easily, but to do it healthily, we can feel it, and then actually you can feel it moving around your body. That's the bit that I actually like, because it's so intense and you can feel your blood boiling, but it actually moves. And that's where you really understand that it is a trapped emotional energy and that it's vibrating at that frequency. The map of consciousness will tell us it vibrates at 150 or what have you, which is below 200. So it's in a state of contraction. And the reason you feel it moving is because, like all energy, emotions want to move in circles, in cycles, don't they? And so it wants to pass out of your energy field. And so you feel it moving, and it can get really, really intense. Okay. And there's no judgment if you know, need to pummel a pillow or something like that. That's another way of getting it out. But I've been practicing this one where you just sit and let it pass. And then when it goes, there's like so much relief. And then suddenly you can't believe how powerful that feeling had been. But it really helps to let you know that you are not your emotions, that that anger was inside of you and that it isn't anymore, and it's a really powerful one. Um, but in the process of practicing that, another really good piece of advice I think was given to me is if it's a person that's making you feel angry, is not really making you feel angry. I talk about that in this book. It's a person that is mirroring the anger that is already within you. So actually, they're a gift because what they're actually doing while they're making you angry they're pointing you, they're triggering you, they're going, you've got some anger in there, you've got some anger in there. So what you can do is not there and then to walk away, bit of Eight of Cups, walk away from the stressful situation and then write, get a piece of paper and a pen, and then just put their name at the top and then write everything you want to say. And you can be as petty as you like. You can just write everything you want to say and just tell them what you really think of them. Tell them what you think of their beliefs, their ideas, their actions, their behavior. Just write it all down, okay? And just get it out of you. And then you cross their name off at the top and you put your name. Put your name. And I've done this before when I lost it with my sister one time. Put your name at the top and now read it back. Does it resonate? I've said so many times before, often the trigger is a magnifying mirror. So you are not experiencing or expressing whatever it is that's making you angry on at the same level as the person that you're writing to. They might be a magnified version of it, but on some level, in some area of your life, does it resonate? Try that one as well. So there are these beautiful techniques for processing anger without judging it. Because one of the reasons that the world is so angry is because we've pushed it down so much, because we've judged it as being wrong. Therefore, we've pushed it down. And now it's coming up. And what he's saying is the reason everything's different now is, I mean, the astrology is off the scale, obviously. If you want to know more about the astrology, please follow Amy Bird Astrology. .com because he is actually I'll put a link in the description because as I'm thinking now I'm not sure if she's a .com or a .co.uk, so I'll put her link in the description. But that's what he's saying. There's something bigger happening now. And it's because of the Great Awakening, of course. We've got a Great Awakening going on. And when people wake up, one of the first emotions that we feel is anger when we see what's going on in the world. So a bit of help in not denying the anger, not judging the anger, allowing it and seeing it as a powerful step forward in our evolution. Because although it's in a state of contraction, it's showing that you want things to change. So you're more invested in yourself and in your community than someone, for example, lower down the map of consciousness who's in a state of depression, for example. So anger is very healthy because it shows that you are aware of what's around you, that you care about what's around you, and that you want what's around you to change in some way. The only thing is, with anger, you're you're thinking that the person outside of you has to change. That's the you think that has to change. That situation has to change, that person has to change, that system has to change. Whereas actually, it's a bit like looking in a mirror. So if you've got a dirty mark on your face and you look in the mirror and you that the dirty mark has to go, right? You want that dirty mark to go. You can clean the mirror till you're blue in the face. That dirty mark will not go. As much as you can shout at the mirror, you can you can clean the mirror, you can rub that dirty mark in the mirror. Nothing will take that dirty mark off. The only thing that will take it off is by you doing it to you, for you, with you. Okay? It's you having to change and having to clean that dirty mark off from your energy field. You have to clean it off you, and then it will not be seen in the mirror. And that's a difficult lesson, I think, to swallow sometimes, especially when the world is in the state that it's in at the moment. But I believe that processing anger in this way and learning to love your anger, that's the other thing, because our anger speaks to us, and that's where he's really helped me. Because I was ashamed of being an angry teenager. I was brought up to like I was like an angry teenager growing up, and I thought it was something I should have, been ashamed of. But no, it was because I saw the world and wanted it to change and hadn't learnt that the change starts within. But now I've seen that every time we change something within, every time we process a trapped emotion of anger, every time we feel it to heal it, I often say, but every time we write a letter like that, every step we take in acknowledging, honoring, and having gratitude for our own emotions and working with them in this way, not denying them, not pushing them down, not judging them, every time we work like that, then there is less to be reflected back. So there's less anger in you to be reflected back. So then your reality will not experience so much anger. And then maybe the collective too, of course. It depends what you're seeing. Everyone's seeing a different part of the world. It's going to be a reflection of who you are, but also it will be part of your path. Our souls have a plan, and that plan is called our destiny. And you can fight that plan if you want, but going with it is going to bring you more joy and happiness and health and abundance. So a lot of stuff and a lot of stuff that we would perceive as being suffering is actually part of our plan, because the plan is for us to learn this stuff and to grow. And so, in fact, if you've got to this stage in the video, if um, you'll probably find that you're going to have some situations that bring up some anger within you. Because otherwise, why would you have got to this stage of the video? And it will be your soul testing you just to see, to give you some practice. But don't judge yourself. If you let rip at someone or if you have a little paddy, that's fine. Let's stop judging the anger. Can you imagine living in the world that we're living in at the moment without anger? Come on. Anger is our first step to change. It's just that we need to take that second step to understand that the change comes from within. So I'm actually not going to shuffle the cards, even though for spring equinox, because I like these two cards that came up on their own. I didn't even need to shuffle all the energy of the Emperor. And also I want to say something about this masculine energy, because we're looking for balance between opposing forces and yin and yang, masculine and feminine. It's the seventh hermetic principle, the principle of gender. We want to have balanced energy, the divine feminine coming up from Mother Earth through our meridian lines and our lower chakras to the heart, and that divine masculine energy coming from Father Sun and coming down our meridian lines and our higher chakras to the heart, and then creating from the heart where we have that beautiful balance and synergy between the divine masculine and divine feminine. And that's how we create. So he is a masculine card, but there's a reminder here that if the masculine, the divine masculine, is balanced, then obviously the divine feminine has to be as well. Because, of course, this is the masculine and it's at a balance point. Obviously, the opposite has to be balanced as well. So there is a beautiful balance between the energies of masculine and feminine and yin and yang and everything else. And it is about reconciling these opposing forces. And we do it by overcoming emotions and rising up to a higher level of consciousness so that we can see things from a more open, expanded heart of love and compassion. And of course, the death card is the massive transformation that is going on in the world as we speak, as I speak, as you listen, at this time. It's powerful. It's a powerful card. It shows that it's the death of our destructive anger, maybe, the death of our ego. And often when loved ones pass over, it's a very powerful time for our own transformation. We feel something. We can feel them in a different way. We can communicate with them in a different way. And they then become our guidance. And that's happening a lot as well, I'm aware of. So there's grief there, obviously, but it's about using that grief in an expansive way, not keeping you contracted, but seeing the grief as a form of love. Because if you didn't love them, you wouldn't be feeling grief. So grief is love. It's the same with sadness. Sadness is love. I remember sharing that when I sold the garden retreat. There was something quite sad about it, but when I reflected on it, it wasn't sadness, it was love. It's because I loved my time there, loved the place, that I was calling it sadness, but actually it was love. So a lot of these emotions, it's the same with anger. Anger is also a form of love because you want change. You're looking for love and you're looking for it in the change in front of you, the changes that you want to make in front of you. So when you look at grief as being love, then you can feel it from that expanded state of compassion and an open heart. And that's what connects you to your loved one's consciousness. So yeah, and it's such a powerful time for transformation in every which way, for us individually, um, for our communities. I'm seeing so many beautiful transformations. Talking of which, anyone that's local to Costa Blanca North, um, the spring equinox on Saturday, the garden retreat is reopening. And so the beautiful new owner, Natalie, has made a fantastic transformation. There's no tent anymore. There's a very weatherproof dome now. I was there yesterday. It's stunning. And it looks and feels, which is an important point, it looks and feels amazing. And she's having an open house on Saturday, the 21st, from 1 o'clock to 4 p.m. in the garden retreat Pago. If you are local to the area, pop in, say hello. Natalie obviously wants to meet everybody. I will be there, and so it'd be lovely to see you. But yes, talking of transformations, it's a beautiful example of a stunning transformation coming through Natalie, and I am seeing so many other examples of transformations like that, and it is beautiful. It's happening within you. And because it's happening within you, it's happening outside of you as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you for your contribution to these beautiful changes happening throughout the world and through humanity at this time. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I love you, I love you, I love you. Bye for now.